Think of how many times we ask, what were you wearing? Did you have anything to drink? What did you say to him? No means no. Period. No matter when it's said, no matter how it's said.
Okay, so no means no unless your name is Joe. Now Biden has to answer the tough questions. So where does one go who is seeking to assure the left his bona fides are pure? Duh, MSNBC. Now wait, before I play the clip of the tough questions he faced, let's take a look back at how he was portrayed by the very people who got the interview.
A lot of things I know about Joe Biden. I've known him for a long time. He is extremely affectionate, extremely flirtatious in a completely safe way.
We all, I just tell you personally, we love Joe.
Love him. I think the next time I see Joe Biden, if he doesn't hug me and give me a kiss and hold my hand while we're talking to you, that's a new Joe Biden, and that's not the Joe Biden I knew. He's a nice guy. He's not a predator. He's affectionate, and I'm just going to push back, and I know I put myself at great peril here. There could be more, whatever. More of what? I want to ask. Because so far these two women have gotten national coverage for something they say was not sexual. So what was it? Affectionate, and they didn't like the affection? And I don't think Me Too wants to take down viable candidates for being affectionate. And 5 women are uncomfortable with the way he hugged them, and say one of them says she smelled his hair. I can promise you, I know Joe Biden, he went up behind her and he took a deep breath because he was about to go on stage. I want to explain that.
It's funny
because there's a woman who accuses him of smelling her hair. He's not interested in your hair. Okay? He was going on stage, and he took a deep breath before he went on stage, and you took it deeply personally, and now you're writing a New York Times op-ed about it, demanding an apology. This, once again, is completely ridiculous. I'm done. You guys can continue to talk about this. I won't. I refuse to give it any more time. So take it away.
And by the way, you know, I was looking through some old pictures. This picture was from 3 years ago. I don't usually show, other than I just.
So there's love, and then there's Mika love. So here's the tough question.
Would you please go on the record with the American people? Did you sexually assault Tara Reid?
No, it is not true. I'm saying unequivocally, it never happened. And it didn't. It never happened.
Okay, I think we all know that was coordinated between the producers and the campaign. Now they could just move past this and back to Trump bad, Biden good. For as long as you can remember, the women's vote has gone to Democrats. The Democrat Party considers itself the natural home for women. Yet some of the most disgusting men in politics and pop culture are Democrats. Now, I'm not going to stand here and try to make you think that all Republican men are angels. But this is an image the Democrats have tried to craft for as long as we can remember. Between PC woke scolding and virtue signaling, Democrats, especially male Democrats, try to paint themselves as pro-woman. There's just one problem with that. All of their lectures and supposed principles end when a powerful Democrat man is accused of the very behavior the feminist activists claim they're here to stop. And that even includes sexual violence. That's because feminism has little to do in the modern era with elevating women and has everything to do with using other women to build political power for particular women, like Hillary Clinton. The Democrat Party has taken ownership of the word feminism. By doing so, they've sought not only to own the term, but to define it politically. For example, it's not enough to be for equal rights for women. One must be for special rights. Also, one cannot be considered a feminist and be opposed to abortion. A strong, independent, conservative woman making her own way does not get the moniker "she persisted." That is reserved only for left-wing women promoting left-wing causes. Demographic voter blocks are based on political constructs. I'll give you an example. Workers. Workers are not simply people with a job. Thanks to Karl Marx, left-wing intellectuals begin all political modeling on a construct of victim and oppressor based on the have and have-not dynamic. That means they seek to create a voter bloc by first convincing them they are victims and there must be a revolt against an oppressor. In the case of women, women are the victims and the patriarchy is the oppressor. Now, I'll skip the history lesson, but the suffragettes were actually Republican women. Now I want to talk about a story that I referred to earlier. Let's get back to the beginning of how this all started. Late at night on July 18, 1969, 36-year-old Senator Ted Kennedy, drunk out of his mind, was driving with his 28-year-old campaign staffer, Mary Jo Kopechne. He lost control of the car, and it plunged into the waters below a one-lane bridge in the vacation enclave known as Chappaquiddick, off the coast of Martha's Vineyard. Senator Kennedy left Kopechne to die and was never charged. Never charged with her death. That's the super short version. But Kennedy went on to become the liberal line of the Senate and a hero to feminists. Upon his death, this headline appeared in Newsweek. Why women continued to support Ted Kennedy. Eleanor Clift, writing for Newsweek at the time of Kennedy's death, wrote, organized women's groups overlooked a lot to stand by the senator from Massachusetts. Feminists who proclaimed the personal is the political made an exception for Kennedy. They argued that the political outweighs the personal. If a politician's private life doesn't interfere with his public life, why should it be a problem? Because he left a woman to die? Hello? Melissa Lavsky, writing for the Huffington Post, eulogized Kennedy with this quote, embrace yourself. Quote, still ignorance doesn't preclude a right to wonder. So it doesn't automatically make someone, aka me, a Limbaugh-loving, aerial wolf-hunting NRA troll for asking what Mary Jo Kopechne would have to say about Ted's death and what she'd have thought of the life and career that are being rightfully heralded. Who knows? Maybe she'd feel it was worth it. Do you believe in ghosts? Because if you do, these feminist writers should not be able to sleep at night. So here's the argument. As long as you are a left-wing politician promoting Democrat agenda items that feminists demand, you can have your way with women who the so-called feminists will chalk up to taking one for the team. The goal of the feminist movement isn't to protect all women. It is to build a power base for some women. Leftists are so consumed with hatred for the president and conservatives at large, they are willing to overlook anything, including sexual assault, even death. If it means getting one of their puppets in office, because that's all Biden really is. Look, he doesn't really bring a whole lot to the table, but that's the whole point, right? I mean, Democrats know that if he wins the presidency, they'll have no problem controlling him. He'll pretty much sign off on anything. But it is interesting to watch what scandals Democrats choose to focus on when it comes to Republicans and yet completely ignore them when it comes to their own side. This is especially true when it comes to sexual harassment and assault. You know, it wasn't too long ago that there were women wearing pink vagina hats out in the streets of D.C. chanting, "Believe all women and believe all survivors," when Kavanaugh was attending hearing after hearing due to the Christine Blasey Ford accusations that he assaulted her some 35 years ago with zero evidence. And don't get me started on the Access Hollywood tape and Trump. They've been attacking him since day one. Remember this woman?
The dressing room doors, I only remembered one door, was unlocked and open, which is very unusual for Bergdorf's. There was nobody there and the door was open. Bergdorf's usually keeps their dressing room doors locked. So he goes like this, I walked in, he shut the door behind us and threw me up against the wall and kissed me. I couldn't believe it.
Now here we are just months from the 2020 presidential election, and the Democrat nominee, Joe Biden, is accused of the exact same thing. Well, actually, it's worse. Except Democrats don't seem to care at all. Hail the sisterhood.